Okay, everybody, Coach Jorge Capestany here, USPTA Master Professional and PTR International Master Professional. And this is our third video of 3 on the topic of why T.A.U.T, why 10 and under tennis. That's what T.A.U.T stands for. So in the first couple of videos, I gave you some main 3 reasons, but this all has to do with a question I was asked at a recent convention, because people know that I do a lot of the 10 and under stuff, and I train a lot of the 10 and under people, so they wanted to know why I liked it. And I realized I never had some answers for that. So the third reason is that the ability to compete sooner. So here's my history. If you saw the first couple of videos, you know that I used to coach a lot of high performance players, and I really liked doing that, but I didn't really enjoy my time with the little kids because I didn't really feel very adept at it. So one of the reasons I didn't like coaching the little kids is because I felt like they couldn't do much. All right, so they couldn't play, so how can I help them if they can't even play? So this whole idea of competing sooner was, it really spoke to me, and there's a story I'll tell you that I think many parents go through. I call this item number 1, Sports Parents Buffet. So what I mean by that is, I believe that a lot of parents here in the U.S., they're at the buffet of sports for their kids, okay? What I mean by that is that they did exactly what I did. I have a 21-year-old daughter, but when she was 7 and 8, we had her try on a whole bunch of different sports. So, for example, we had her try tennis. We also had her try t-ball, swimming. She did karate, she did volleyball, she did a bunch of things, and our idea was that whatever she liked the most, we were going to kind of pursue it and let her kind of decide herself. My wife is also a teaching professional, so we didn't want to force our daughter into tennis. So as I went through the process of signing my daughter up for those things, I realized a big difference in these other sports and how they operate and how I, as a tennis coach in my tennis club, operated, which is, here's the big difference. All these other sports, when I signed her up, they gave me a sheet, a little parents information sheet, and on that sheet, it would have 2 things. They would tell me when all the practices were and when all the games were. It was just assumed that there were going to be games. The story I have about t-ball is that I think I signed her up on a Tuesday night for t-ball, and they had a practice on that Thursday, which is 2 days later, and they had a game already on Saturday. And I was thinking to myself, my daughter can't play a game. She doesn't know how to play t-ball. She doesn't know baseball. She won't even know how to hit it, and if she does, she won't even know where to run. So I got out there during that week, and I kind of helped her get a little bit familiar with t-ball and baseball. We played some catch, and I had her hit off the tee. So the difference is that our sport does not lend itself easily for kids to have some kind of competition. One of the problems is that a lot of coaches believe that the only type of competition that you can have is an actual match, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But I saw a big opportunity with the new equipment, scaling it down, giving balls that go a little bit slower, equipment that fits them better. They cover the same kind of court proportions that the pros would do instead of the actual court, that would get them to play sooner. All right, the second thing is, I realized that at my club, I have here 3 to 4 years before any competition. So what was happening at my club, and I think really many clubs, is these kids were coming in at age 7 or say 8, and they would take tennis lessons. So when they went to sign up for soccer and they were checking out soccer, they got to play soccer and practice, and they also had a game. All these other things, there was swimming and there was a swim meet, and we had a schedule for it. Everything had an opportunity to compete and to play, and at my tennis center, I had just the opportunity to to practice. So kids don't really get too excited. No kid wakes up in the morning and says, I want to be a great practicer of tennis. They want to be good at playing tennis. That's the whole point. So there was a big problem, and I saw that the 10 and under initiative was going to allow me to maybe get kids to do a lot of competition much sooner. So the way I was thinking is, I didn't want to lose all these potential tennis kids, because when they were comparing my tennis practice only schedule to all the cool things they got to do in t-ball and have fun and play some games, even if they didn't play it very well, they were going through the mechanics of competition. I really thought that was going to be a big asset for us in our program. Okay, and then the other thing is just that, a little warning, I know a lot of coaches tell me, you know, I really can't help these kids. They don't know how to play. So you're talking about competition, but they can't, you know. So in my, a pro just told me this. At my club, if a 6-year-old comes in, we'll start giving them lessons, getting them the foundation, and we'll keep them in those lessons sometimes for, 3-4 years before they get to play a 10 and under USTA tournament. And the reality is that kids aren't probably going to stick around for that long a time. Usually, if there's not some kind of fun with some competition, before 3 or 4 years is up, they're going to be out the door, especially when they're going back to the sports buffet. Every little kid, 8-year-old that comes into my club, I assume they're trying other sports. And my job as Coach Jorge, I want to win them over to tennis. I want them to like tennis. And when their parents say, okay, so you tried all these things, what do you like best? I want them to like tennis the most. So the ability to compete sooner, that was my third. This is our final video of the 3 big reasons why I was an early adopter to the 10 and under tennis. I hope that makes sense to you, and good luck on the courts.